Hello, today we are going to discuss how to configure sensor for an object. So the question arises why to connect the sensor in object. So the reason is that based on the sensor attachment, the system need to get the information for sensor data that is getting from the device. So for that the sensor connection is needed. So this configuration is available into setting in general into object screen. So currently we are into the object screen in sensor tab. So here you need to configure. So based on the GPS device type selection, the sensors port will be available. So let's take an example. On the devices, if you have attached the ignition sensors onto the ignition port, then that sensor need to be connected in software. Likewise, for the power, if you have attached the power port onto the device, then you can select the power into the system as well. And apart from that, if you have connected the analog port as well on the devices, that is on a analog input one, if you have connected fuel sensor, then you can use it. And also apart from that, there are the multiple port sensors connection options available into software. That is when you have selected the analog port, uh, analog input 2 for the temperature, then it can be done as well into software. That is based on sensor attachment into the device. The same configuration need to be done into software as well. That is multiple sensors connection is will available as well. So based on the sensor attachment, you need to calibrate for the analog port. So for the fuel, you need to go and do the calibration for the fuel as well as the temperature. Also for the calibration need to be done into software for the identifications of the for the data in the informations that come that receives from the devices. So this is how multiple sensors connection can be done. As well as for the fuel, you can use the multiple fuel sensors as well. And based on the multiple fuel sensors connection, you can use it into the software, and likewise you can calibrate it. So this is how multiple fuel calibrations can be done, and multiple sensors attachment can be done into software as well. So now apart from this sensor connection attachment, let's move on to another part, that is reading type. So as in a general, the ignition port that is connected, or the device that sends the values that are ignition on can be identified as a one value into the system, and ignition off, that means a zero value come from the devices. So likewise in that case, if the device sends some inverse value, that is ignition on as a 0 and ignition off, that means 1. So in that case you need to use the inverse option into software. So this is how the reading type of a inverse and direct options can be used into software. Apart from that, there are a work hour calculation can be done into software as well. That is based on the selection of the work hour option, that is when you have connected the work hour information based on the ignition port, then you can calculate the time into software that based on the connection you can get the informations of the work hour for ignition information into the software. This is how sensor attachment can be done into software. Thank you.